Hello, it's Miles at Future-Proof My House. I'm looking at retirement living and retirement villages, something that has always had a bit of a stigma in the UK, but in places like Australia and America, they're very, very popular. There are a lot of retirement villages, retirement communities being built at the moment, and it's something that we will see more and more of in the coming years. And people are moving into them a lot earlier as well. So retirement villages quite often allow people in from the age of about 55. So people who may still be working actually. And they are really sort of a way of downsizing. And there's a few reasons why people would want to do that earlier and when they get a bit older. Firstly, simply the downsizing aspect, moving to a smaller property, perhaps after the children have left, can be very appealing. Maintenance, looking after a house, looking after a garden, this can be something that people find a bit daunting when they get older, or they just don't really want to deal with it anymore. So there's a convenience there, certainly. One of the really big things, of course, is community and companionship. We're very lucky in Charlbury. There's quite a lot to do. People are very close, and people do have family around them, and they have friends, and for them that might not be as appealing. But for lots of people who don't have those sort of support networks, moving into a community like a retirement village can be really, really useful and really enjoyable. Retirement villages will quite often have restaurants. Well, they'll do theme nights, or they will invite people in for lunches, which can be really, really useful for people. They will have quite often gyms, swimming pools, and they'll also have things like clubs, walking clubs, gaming clubs, etc. So I think a large amount of the appeal is that sort of social aspect. If somebody finds themselves living alone, again, moving into a village where they can have sort of a ready-made community can be really, really useful. So over the coming years, I think we'll be looking at retirement in a very different way. We'll be changing our attitude to it. We'll all be retired for a lot longer than we used to be. And as we get older, we will have ill health, and we will need more help and support. And of course, retirement village retirement projects have those kind of things built into them. Quite often, as you get older, you'll find that there's more and more support that you can get from the village or the scheme that you're in. And some of them even now have hospice or end-of-life care, nursing care, clinical care. And they'll also have the technology that we're looking at on this site already built in. So there are quite a lot of advantages to it. So I think it's something that is worth looking into. Whilst we're looking here a lot about adapting houses to stay in place, there is of course a big argument for people to downsize, to open up the larger houses for families across the country, and it's not an insignificant point. So where those things come together, I think that it's a really exciting place for people to look and to think about how they plan for their later life. So we'll put some things on the page that explore some of these issues and give you some of the insights. Quite a large part of what you need to understand about a retirement living is the sort of finances behind it. It can be quite complicated. Essentially, when you move into a retirement village, you buy a property. You will then have different levels of service, so ranging I think from about £500 upwards per month, that is going to be part of your maintenance and service contract, and that of course will grow as you add care, extra care in. But also for a lot of the schemes, when you sell the house, there is a payment that needs to go back to the property owners, and that can be very substantial. In the past, it has sort of made some properties so that they're really unable to be sold because financially it didn't make sense. It's something of the past. I think now the deals are a lot better, a lot more understood, but it is something that you really clearly need to understand before you go into a retirement property. So we'll leave it at that. Hopefully this is useful, and we'll update it as we get more information.